welcome to No Bones About It. Today we're going to do filet mignon. I think you'll really like this recipe. It's something we've done several times, and there's different ways to do your filet. Basically, do you sear first or do you sear last? And I think it's easier to sear first because it helps you control your temperature at the end. You want to get it up to like a 135 degrees or to your taste. And I think that it's easier to go ahead and get that nice crust on the edges, and that's what we're going to do today. So the main things that you need for this recipe are obviously your fillets. So if you look at the fillet, this is something we got from the butcher today, usually about an average of an 8-ounce fillet, and we have 4 of those today. And I do think it's important to get non-frozen beef that's fresh from the butcher. We're going to use some thyme, some garlic powder, kosher salt, and we'll put that on first, EVOO, and a rub of your choice. I think is very important to get the crust on the edge, and then some good old-fashioned butter. So that's everything you're going to need, plus a obvious thermometer when you put it into the oven. You're going to start over here with your searing, and then after you sear for about 2 to 3 minutes per side on all sides, you're going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 6 to 8 minutes. And obviously, like I said, it depends on the temperature that you're looking for, and that's going to be the gauge. Okay? Okay. All right, so we're getting ready to start with this filet, and I do think it's important to start with the EVOO first. A nice drizzle of that on your fillets on all sides. And so you could use a lot of oil into the pan. I don't use as much oil into the pan. I'll place a little bit. The reason is because you don't want to start a big fire, and then when you start the fire you have to open up the door and then your dog gets out of the house, and that's not what you want to have happen. Can I get a spoon? So we're going to put some butter and some oil into the pan and get it hot. And what you want is you want your pan on a high temp to get really hot, to where when you put that steak in it's going to sizzle, right? So you see some smoke there. We're going to go ahead and put some garlic powder in there to give some flavor to the oil, and some thyme. Okay. Alright, so we're going to simply season our steaks now that we've put some oil on our steaks. We want to lather some salt. This is kosher salt, nice thick coarse salt that you want to use. And then your rub, or what type of steak seasoning you want to use. Okay, flip these over. Make sure to season and oil all sides of your meat. That's really important anytime you're cooking meat, obviously. And you can smell the aromatics there, some of what we put in to that oil, and I do think that's important because that oil you're going to use to kind of baste your meat continuously later on. More salt, generous salt. When you think you put enough salt, put a little more. And here you go with your seasoning. Alright, so I'm going to melt some more butter. Not too much. A little bit more. Lauren's our camera girl there. Lauren, you want to get the focus in on the... Alright, so let's test this here. It's a pretty good sear. I'm going to turn it up a little higher. So I like to test it, and then I'll heat that up a little more. I want it to really pop. So we'll let... Alright, now we're ready to put our steaks on. That's what you want. See how that pops there? There you go. So it's easy to look. You want about 3 minutes aside, but honestly, you're going to gauge more by the brownness and the char crust that you get on your steak. Okay, so what we've done is, you can see we've browned the steak on all sides. I think it's important even on the sides to brown, and you can see there what we've done with the steak. 61 degrees is what it's hitting at now. So we're going to place it in a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes probably or more to get this temperature up to at least 135, 140. Alright, our steaks are about 145. Woo! Look at that. And that's what you want right there. Nice brown. And then we're going to go cut into these here in a second. See all that nice flavor on the bottom there? And I'm going to show you. You like to take a spoon right now and take some of that butter and that oil and kind of braise over those steaks a little bit. See how we're going to do that? Oh man, those look great. Alright, we're going to put some foil over them. Let them continue to cook. They're about 145 right now. We'll cook them a little bit more than that, a couple degrees more than that, and with no heat, just to let them finish on their own. Alright, we're all finished, and let's cut in and see what we have here. And that's nice. So just, you know, if you want to see, basically, here's a smaller one. It's going to be a little more well done, but you can see that this one's brown and pink. The larger one is going to be more of a pink on the inside. That's the way we like ours. Obviously, if you wanted it a little bit more pink or red, you'd take it out about 10 degrees earlier. But another way to test is you can put your thumb down or your finger, and that's about the consistency you want. So, alright, what a meal that was. You know, the filet is one of my favorite recipes. I think that it's pretty easy to do. Some of the important things, you want to get a good cut of meat from the butcher the day of. I do like to sear beforehand rather than after. And then also you want to make sure your oil is not too hot as to smoke, because then that could start a fire, and you want to be right under that temperature. You want to get that nice sizzle when you put that meat in. I think that this is a very consistent thing to do as long as you cook to a temperature. 400 degrees, we were right at about 12 to 14 minutes today after we seared, and that's going to depend on the thickness of your meat. But no bones about it. Like and subscribe to our channel, Lavender's TV. We do a variety of cooking demos like this, as well as travel reviews and that type of thing. And so glad you watched our video.